Hello, thank you for joining with me. We are in Ken Wapnick's Journey Through the Text of A Course in Miracles, Volume 1, and we are on Chapter 6, The Lessons of Love. Picking up our reading in the Lessons of the Holy Spirit. We are now asked to apply certain criteria to how we live. Whenever we see others as different from us, meaning that they have what we lack, we cannot help but take what we need from them. This is predicated on the premise that they have stolen what was rightfully ours. The ego's fourth law of chaos. You have what you have taken. Of course, then we wish to see our guilt in them. At this point, we need to understand that this is a signal that there is something wrong in us, because we are seeing separation instead of unity. When we are in a state of disquiet, we remind ourselves of our mistake. As we saw earlier in the statements that began with, I must have decided wrongly because I am not at peace. Through A Course in Miracles, the Holy Spirit is teaching us a different way to perceive. When we bring to Him our experiences, responses, and feelings, we have begun the process of evaluation. Anything that makes duality or separation real is false. Anything that reflects the oneness of heaven and allows us not to take anything here personally is true. Therefore, the Holy Spirit's third lesson is, be vigilant only for God and His kingdom. We need be vigilant each day for when we are not at peace. As soon as possible, we try to remember that our lack of peace is due to our mind's decision, not to what someone or some situation did to us. This vigilance for the ego reflects our underlying commitment to returning to God and His kingdom, taking Jesus' hand as we make the journey of forgiveness that leads us home. This is a major step toward fundamental change. Fundamental change, as we have already been told, is in the mind. Vigilance means returning to the mind where the Holy Spirit's correction is. We can see again and again the tremendous emphasis Jesus places on asking His help to look differently on the world we perceive and our minds have made real. Yet it still has an aspect of thought reversal, since it implies that there is something you must be vigilant against. It is advanced far from the first lesson, which is merely the beginning of the thought reversal, and also from the second, which is essentially the identification of what is more desirable. This step, which follows from the second as the second follows from the first, emphasizes the dichotomy between the desirable and the undesirable. It therefore makes the ultimate choice inevitable. The development of trust in the manual expresses the same idea, in which the first 3 of 6 stages deal with separating out the valuable from the valueless, the desirable from the undesirable. The same theme found in Lesson 133, I will not value what is valueless. This is still another example of how these important themes return over and over in the larger symphony that is A Course in Miracles. At the end of this journey we take with Jesus, there is no longer a choice. Yet we still sleep in the dualistic world, wherein it is meaningful to think of choosing the desirable, the Holy Spirit's forgiveness, and rejecting the undesirable, the ego's attack. This is the healing process we need to nurture and continually reinforce. While the first step seems to increase conflict, and the second may still entail conflict to some extent, This step calls for consistent vigilance against it. This step calls for awareness that conflict is not something external, between you and me, or between my government and yours, but is this seeming conflict between the ego and Holy Spirit. We say seeming because the Holy Spirit is not in conflict with anything, since the mind's conflict entails contradictory thoughts. For example, we want the peace of God, but on our terms as differentiated individuals. We need to maintain constant vigilance for the insanity of compromise that prevents our choosing the unequivocal voice that speaks for sanity and truth. I'm going to go ahead and stop there today. I thank you so much for joining with me, and I will see you tomorrow. I love you. Bye-bye.